More people are being killed on Kentucky's roads this year than last year. I'll tell you how state police are trying to keep people safe coming up.
A local and state investigation underway after a number of inmates get very sick and overdose on drugs.
A Kentucky man is in Washington, D.C. fighting for tighter gun laws. What he and some others want to see changed coming up.
WKYT News starts now with breaking news.
We will get to those stories in just a moment, but first we are tracking two breaking news stories in Lexington. Police are on the scene of a shooting right now on Lima Drive.
Now, police are telling us when they got to the scene about 4, they found a man on the ground outside of a dollar store plus. They say he had 2 gunshot wounds. Police are still investigating, but they believe the victim's car was taken during the shooting. They're looking for a gray 2005 Nissan Altima.
And not far from Lima Drive, Lexington police are investigating another shooting on LaSalle Road, but they don't know if the two are connected. Neighbors tell us they heard multiple gunshots around 2:30, and police say one person was shot several times. Another gunshot victim later showed up at UK Hospital. Police are trying to figure out if this shooting is connected to another scene over at Mr. Money on New Circle Road. There, police now say witnesses saw a black car pull up with someone getting out, firing shots, then taking off. We'll have the very latest from both scenes coming up on WKYT News at 6.
Now to our top story tonight. There's still more than a month left in 2015. It's already shaping up to be a much deadlier year on the roads than last year.
According to state police, 672 people died in crashes in 2014 in Kentucky. And so far this year, we're already at 649. Our Sean Moody tells us how police are trying to make our roads safer in our top story at 5:30.
It's not much right now, but things will get a lot busier on the interstate as we move into the holiday season, and drivers don't have a good track record this year. A lot more people have been killed on the road so far than at the same point in the past couple of years.
For state police, that is not a good sign.
Kentucky State Police say so far this year, 649 people have died in crashes. In the past 5 years, that's second only to 2012, which saw 657 at this point in the year. Over the next few weeks, you can expect to see a whole lot more police out there on the road.
That's to keep people safer on the roadways. It's to get motorists to slow down, to pay more attention, to not drive distracted. When you're behind the wheel of the car, you need to be thinking about driving. A lot of times when we get in our cars, we've got so many other things on our minds that we get distracted.
Kentucky State Police say it's not just more human beings out here on the roads, but animals that increase out here as well.
November is a peak time for deer moving in our Commonwealth. They will be traveling at night especially. They are very nocturnal, so dusk to dawn is especially the times to be watching for those. Scan continuously. That way you can see what other motorists are doing. You can see if there's animal hazards.
And maybe above all, make sure you've got a designated driver for any of those parties you might be headed to. In Lexington, Sean Moody, WKYT.
Highway deaths fell from 2012 to 2013, but have risen since then.
An investigation is underway after a half a dozen inmates at a southern Kentucky jail overdosed. All the overdoses happened last week. And while all of the inmates are back in jail and okay, the jailer says he wants to know how the drugs were sneaked in. New at 5:30, our Phil Pendleton has the latest on that investigation.
The investigation started last Wednesday when an inmate got very sick, was taken to the hospital. Doctors there said that he had overdosed on drugs. That case was followed by 5 other similar instances that has now resulted in a pretty widespread investigation. It was contraband somehow making its way into the jail, and the jailer says the inmates got creative in concealing it.
By what some of the inmates have told us in the body cavities.
Jailer Harvey Shearer says the desperation to get drugs into jail shows just how bad the drug problem is.
They will stop at nothing to get drugs into jails or to take drugs.
But Shearer says how the drugs are getting past all the security measures isn't known. Right now, the Department of Corrections and 2 other jails are looking into it.
They've got to have outside contacts whenever you get them booked in through work release.
That work release has been put on hold. The jailer says other security measures have increased.
We brought in Jessamine County and Laurel County search teams to search the premises, and we found some drugs.
Shearer says a stash of drugs believed to be meth were found in various areas around inmates and the jail facility. The county attorney is also looking into this. These inmates will face charges. What charges those are is yet to be decided. In Wayne County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
Thank you, Phil. And we've been told that all the inmates who were sent to the hospital are now back in jail.
Kentucky State Police have identified the trooper injured in a southern Kentucky crash involving a horse. Our county-by-county coverage at 5:30 begins in Rockcastle County. It happened just after 1 this morning on Highway 150 near Broadhead. Police say trooper Adam Hensley crashed into a horse that ran out in front of him. The horse died, and the crash caused damage to the trooper's cruiser. Henley was flown to UK hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. In Bourbon County, the chief financial officer of Paris has resigned. City leaders tell us they recently found irregularities on the city's credit card. They say about $2,000 worth of personal charges were on the card. The city says they will do an audit of several accounts to identify the problem. Once the audit is complete, city leaders plan to seek restitution.
Many of you saw some rain across parts of the Bluegrass State today, but we are tracking a storm that's moving towards Kentucky tonight. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey has an early look at the forecast.
Yeah, ahead of that storm, we had rains yesterday, light rains, into early this morning. This afternoon, more in the way of some clouds, but you're noticing the winds that are picking up out there, and that's a sure sign that a healthy storm is on the way as we go through the next 24 hours. Right now, as we work our way from the afternoon into the evening, temperatures still mild, around 60 degrees, mostly cloudy skies showing up throughout central and eastern Kentucky. We look at our Defender radar network, and we take you out to the Plain States. Look at the big spiral there. That's an area of low pressure that is now moving into Kansas. Blizzard on the backside, severe weather out ahead of that, though the severe weather threat over time will begin to decrease, though very gusty winds associated with this line of showers and thunderstorms that'll zip its way on into central and eastern Kentucky as we go into the day tomorrow. Right now, not a whole lot out there, but again, we do have a wind advisory that is out for late tonight and through the day tomorrow. Winds that may top out 40 to 45 miles per hour at times. That's especially true, guys, as the actual line of showers and storms works into town middle of the day through the rest of the afternoon. I'll come back in just a few minutes and look at a new hour-by-hour forecast that we time that line across central and eastern Kentucky and look at the potential for the first flakes of the season just ahead.
Chris, thank you. Gun owners from across the country traveled to D.C. this week to urge the Obama administration to tighten gun laws.
The MoveOn.org Gun Owners for Gun Control organization had a delegation of 15 meet with officials, and one of those gun owners is from Garrett County. Our Washington Bureau's Peter Zampa talked with the Kentucky man on their discussion in the Capitol.
Yes, you heard that right. A few gun owners are working to make it more difficult for Americans to get guns. Grant Short from Paint Lick, Kentucky says he loves owning guns, but he also says it is wrong that any person that wants to can walk into a gun show and purchase a firearm with cash. He wants to work with the Obama administration to change that.
I just don't think people are fully aware of how big that loophole is and how many criminals take advantage of it.
Gun Owners for Gun Control is an organization that says the National Rifle Association doesn't speak for them. David Keefe from Wausau, Wisconsin was part of the delegation. He says he hopes Congress can finally pass a comprehensive background check law, which it has failed to do in the past.
We're hoping that this time it'll go through, or President Obama will use an executive action.
Short is an NRA member but says he thinks the group is desensitized to issues surrounding gun violence.
I feel like the gun lobby is the only one being represented in Congress, which, you know, at this point I'm going to revoke my membership.
Keefe says the White House was receptive to the organization's plans to strengthen gun laws, as were senators and representatives from Wisconsin. He says he thinks American parents live in constant fear of their loved one being involved in another school shooting.
I really think, even with what happened in Paris recently, that the average American lives in more fear of that than they do of international terrorism or ISIS.
In Washington, Peter Zampa, WKYT.
By law, gun sales at gun shows involving a federally licensed gun dealer do require background checks. The so-called loophole only involves sales between private parties, including between relatives or close friends.
Many governors of states across this country are saying they will not allow Syrian refugees into their state, or at least review their policies on accepting them after the attacks in Paris, France. Kurt of Science Hill has our good question today. He's asking, does our governor plan on denying refugees into our state, such as other states are doing? Current Governor Steve Beshear says he will not limit which refugees come into Kentucky and will welcome those that have been screened and vetted. Governor Beshear says, as long as I'm governor, we're going to be looking at the Syrian refugee problem on a case-by-case basis. But he will only be governor for 3 more weeks. Governor-elect Matt Bevin said yesterday he is, quote, joining with other governors across the country in opposing the resettlement of Syrian nationals until we can better determine the full extent of any risk to our citizens, end of quote. But when asked about this last night in an interview with WKYT, Governor Beshear said it's his understanding in Kentucky the governor does not have the authority to refuse refugees who are cleared by the federal government. We'll continue to follow this important story. If you have a good question, go to WKYT.com. A divide in Kentucky as political leaders discuss the issue of Syrian refugees potentially coming here to the U.S.
And former Vice President Al Gore says he won't be endorsing anyone for president yet. Bill Bryant has the details in the bottom line.
Good evening. The issue of Syrian refugees potentially coming to America has introduced sudden division in the political landscape, including here in Kentucky. President Obama is planning to accept 10,000 refugees next year. In the bluegrass state, the differences are stark between the incumbent governor and the incoming governor on the refugee issue. Republican Governor-elect Matt Bevin is joining governors of several states in opposing the resettlement of Syrian refugees after last week's terror attacks in Paris. But Democratic Governor Steve Beshear, who leaves office 3 weeks from today, says Kentucky should welcome refugees who have passed extensive background checks. And Republican Senator and presidential candidate Rand Paul is introducing legislation that would suspend visas for people from about 30 countries considered to be potential exporters of terrorism. Education may be in the spotlight during the upcoming legislative session in Frankfort. Governor-elect Bevin is calling for more educational choices, and a bill has been pre-filed in the General Assembly that would require school superintendents to consult with principals and school councils when establishing school policies or making personnel decisions. Lexington State Senator Reggie Thomas's wife died early today. It was confirmed on Thomas's Twitter account that his wife of 35 years, Linda, died after a lengthy illness. Arrangements are incomplete. Senator Thomas is a Democrat who represents most of downtown Lexington and some other parts of Fayette County. Former Vice President Al Gore says he will not be endorsing anyone for president until Democrats settle on a nominee. Gore has repeatedly passed up the opportunity to voice support for Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders, or Martin O'Malley. An aide to Gore tells Politico that Gore will remain on the sidelines for now. Bill Bryant, WKYT.
Fans at Commonwealth Stadium can now share the big moments from the game when they happen.
AT&T has boosted its mobile internet coverage at Commonwealth Stadium by upgrading its antenna system. The antenna should give customers a better wireless connection during the game.
Our customers, they've changed how we experience games and events. We now, where we used to watch, now we're tweeting and Instagramming and taking pictures and videos and sharing them. So we want to make sure our customers are able to have that great experience on game day here at Commonwealth Stadium.
The network upgrade meant putting up antennas throughout the stadium.